Jovial Joe here, back, and we're still talking about eCPMs. They're so interesting, I needed to know more. So we still have Jason here, and we thank you for spending this time with us, Jason. So first thing I want to continue in our dive with eCPMs, what's the difference in a $5 eCPM and a $10 eCPM? How do we achieve the difference?
No, that's a good question. It's something that app publishers should be really cognizant of when they're trying to monetize their app further, because there's a lot that goes into it, and it really depends. There's a lot of factors between the different types of ad units, which I'm sure we'll make a video later on as well. But the different type of app units can be surveys, rewarded videos, interstitials, banners, which all have different mixes that result in an eCPM, right? So I can start with the kind of the most popular, easiest to explain would be an interstitial ad, right? So an interstitial ad is a pop-up ad that jumps in your face, right? And that pop-up ad sometimes has a 5-second countdown, things like that. You've seen them in the app, in games, things like that. And really what drives that, most of the time it's a blended eCPM. And what that means is revenue that's actually driven from that is when a user installs it. So this, you have to think from who's paying for these ads, right? Whoever's paying for them is either paying per install, is paying for every impression, or is paying for every click. And so the mediator that we talked about that in the last video is basically blending these to drive the highest revenue towards you, as well as give the best results for the companies that are paying, because they got to keep the companies coming back. And so what that looks like is you might have 300 impressions that are paid on an average of $3 eCPM, and then you've got, which comes out to be a guaranteed about 30 cents for that eCPM base, and then you've got 700 impressions left. And then so 400 of those impressions are shown on a CPI basis, which is cost per install. And so they're paying $2 for every install you drive, but you only show 400 impressions and not anyone downloads, you don't get any money. But if 3 people downloads in those 400 impressions, then you get $6 added on to your eCPM. So there's a lot of additional value. If you have high quality eCPMs, if you have high quality ad impressions, then you're gonna show really, really high revenues. And on top of that, like I said, companies also pay cost per click, which is every time someone clicks on your ad, it might drive revenue. But I want to jump into that a little bit further, because there's a lot of over the years change around that. So there's been a lot of variability in terms of how companies are paying, and what it's really trending towards is paying for installs, right? Because there's a lot of fraud around, show a bunch of ads because I know I'm just getting paid per impression, or incentivizing clicks and things like that, which don't drive true value for the buyers. So the buyers are paying more for installs, which means pushing more high quality ads is what publishers should focus on. It's better user experience, and they'll drive more money out of it. And another facet of this, and I know I'm just talking on and on.
Oh no, I'm listening.
So,
we're listening.
So the ads as they work, think for a single user that makes up this eCPM. If they see one ad, that's the highest quality ad that ad company has, right? Then the second ad is the second highest quality. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, etc. So the more ads that a single user sees, your eCPM is going to start dropping, because each ad, the company's willing to pay less and less. Essentially is how that works. And then that's just interstitials. The same essentially applies to rewarded videos, banner ads. Surveys are a little bit different, because what goes into a survey eCPM is the completion. And if you have a good survey provider, then they'll also pay you for disqualifications or screen outs. So when a user is going in and they're taking surveys, if they get disqualified, then you as the publisher will get paid 2 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents, whatever that is, and the user gets that reward as well. So they get rewarded for their time spent. And then after they're done with the survey, that cost of the survey, that revenue for the survey might be $1, $2, etc. So a good survey eCPM will filter out to be between $120 and $160. It's similar to kind of the more traditional ad in the past has been the offer wall, but the issue with offer walls is there's been a lot of policy changes on from the App Store perspective, right?
I gotta conform to the App Store.
That's right. So basically, what offer walls used to be would incentivize installs, and they'd pay per install. but that's no longer allowed. So now the offer walls are made up of a bunch of different sources of traffic that has really changed. And what the result of that really is lower eCPMs, a worse user experience, spammy content. So offer walls are kind of on the downtrend in terms of publisher revenue. Surveys are on the uptrend, where you're going to see a lot more apps monetizing with surveys going forward, and ad units are going to be a lot higher quality, because that's where the money is. Everything, you know, higher quality is kind of the new age of 2020 decade, right? So that was a super long answer to your simple question.
Oh no, definitely jam-packed with great information. So receive that. Thank you for that explanation. So another question I would need to know right now, is there some seasonality that is involved with the eCPMs and how the metric is determined over a cycle of the industry?
No, that's definitely a good question. There's definitely some seasonality to it, right? Typically the standard seasonality is going to be Q1 to Q4, it goes up. Right? So your eCPMs are going to drive up over the year. But you're going to see less of that on larger exchanges. So for example, on an AdMob or Facebook, you'll see less of that seasonality trend. Because they have so much volume. Whereas a third-party network that's less known will have larger drops in Q1 because all of their IOs end. And so the company's paying basically on a contract until December 31st, and then January 1st, you might see a cliff.
A drop off.
Exactly. And then over the course of the year is that rebound. And then companies start paying more and more, you know, once they know they're going to be selling more products and things like that in Q4, and they continuously drive more. The same stays true with surveys, right? So survey eCPMs go up over the course of the year, and you might expect to see from December to January about a 10% drop, just for a little bit, because when people aren't in the office pushing out surveys, when they're not trying to reach their, you know, it basically means on a work day, eCPMs are going to be higher for surveys. Relative to when there's holidays, people aren't pushing out surveys that same day and don't need completes. So that's kind of the overall trend in seasonality. If I were to put a pin in it,
directly connected to human nature and the work schedule. So there you go, eCPMs deep dive, even deeper. So we appreciate the time of you listening and getting the eCPM information in. Stay tuned for more inBrain. Hey guys, don't forget, if you haven't seen our first eCPM video, don't forget to go check it out.